Hello everyone. Now, what appears to have happened here is I've bought myself the cheapest V12 in the country. This is a 2007 BMW 760 Li, which reeks of opulence and has more gadgets and toys, well, than a Curry's PC World. So this could go one of two ways. Either I have indeed bought myself the UK's cheapest V12, or in fact the world's most expensive headache. Driver? So, as I said, it's a 2007 BMW 760 Li. That means it's got the all-important V12, which is ridiculous. It's a Rolls-Royce derived V12 at the time when the Phantom was made. BMW basic, well, I mean, the Phantom is a little bit of a BMW parts bin, and this is a 6-litre V12 that you do find in the Phantom, although that one is bored out to be a 6 3/4 litre engine. It's in this stunning Monaco blue, massive 19-inch, quite nice alloys on the side, and as you've seen probably a little bit of already, a cream interior with wood trim everywhere. It really is quite lavish, and probably not the sort of thing that you would, I say, expect a 23-year-old to be cruising round in. But nonetheless, I'm gonna kick the driver out of the car now, take it for a little spin, and then maybe we'll have a look at some of the toys in the command centre at the back of the car. Hear the sound of that plane? Almost like it wasn't there in the first place. So, here we are in my BMW 760 Li. L, by the way, stands for long wheelbase. And while we're talking about that, I won't make you wait at all. How much did I pay for this car? 5 grand, which, if you ask me, is fantastic value of money, because that is basically less than £1 per metre. This car is just shy of 5.2 metres long. It's a barge, but it's a luxury barge at that. And I cannot begin to tell you, we just put it into drive here, how smooth, how quiet, and how comfortable this thing is to drive. It really is like nothing I've experienced before. So although I've got a massive 6-litre V12 under the bonnet, that's not what it feels like most of the time, and that is exactly how this car was designed. It's got 440 odd brake horsepower and about the same number in pound-feet of torque. It's just a surge of power when you do put your foot down, but it doesn't kick you back in the seat. It does it very, very efficiently, and I can imagine, again, just designed for the very important executive, which, by the way, is now me, in the back of the car, so that they can continue to do whatever it is they're doing without being given neck ache all of a sudden when your foot is put down. But that's just about a quarter throttle, and it surges forward and over a speed bump. Not bad. As you might imagine, everything here in the front is electronic. My steering wheel is electronic. You adjust it here with a button like that. It's also heated, which, by the way, this heated steering wheel it's like touching the inside of an oven. I quite imagine it's probably on par with that of the surface of the sun. It's a very good heated steering wheel. We've also got active, I can't remember what they call it, but active sort of suspension, which completely eradicates body roll in this car, which is ridiculous for a 5.2 metre, 2.5 ton barge. Of course, I'm sure there is a limit, and I could go maybe 700 miles an hour round this corner up ahead here, and it would roll, if not flip, and throw me into the Thames. But it is quite uncanny, actually, being in a car this big without any body roll. It's really quite impressive. And as I was saying, everything in here is electronic, and it's really, God, now that must be loud because I have double glazing in here, and that still sounds like an absolute racket. But yeah, double glazing windows all round, which is very, very nice. We've got suede roof liner, which in this car, unbelievably, is not sagging anywhere. We will get onto that a little bit more as these videos progress. This car is actually a real gem, and I may regret saying that in a few months when I'm £10,000 south. Anyway, everything is electric in this car, as I've mentioned now. The steering wheel, which is heated, which is lovely. We have cruise control, automatic wipers, automatic lights, obviously an electronic tailgate, which is the boot or the trunk. That's one button to operate that. We have a sunroof, which is electronic, of course. And I love how all the seat controls are here on my left-hand side. It takes a little bit of getting used to, and I think if you're a slightly bigger gentleman or lady, you may find yourself knocking these buttons when you don't want to. However, for me, I really like having them here. You've got pretty much 6-way adjustability on every part of the seat. You can even adjust just the top part of the backrest, which I'm trying to demonstrate. There we go, I think that's it. It's mad. You can adjust 1, 2, 3, 4 different parts of the seat, one of which being lumbar. My seats are heated and cooled, of which I've got the heated seats on currently, with a little thing to massage my bottom as well, which is rather pleasant. Pleasant is actually just, you know, if I had to sum this video up in one word, pleasant. This car is just pleasant. What isn't so pleasant, which is what I'm looking at right now, is my average fuel consumption since I picked this car up. Any guesses? Well, let me tell you something now. It's not got 2 digits, it is 1 digit. We're averaging 9.3 miles per gallon, which I did a little bit of a calculation earlier. It's an 88 litre tank. Now, in EU, we are 4.5 gallons per litre, so that's almost exactly 20 gallons of tank. And let's try not to crash into this Skoda here, although if I did, I'm sure I wouldn't feel it, so it doesn't matter too much. Yeah, he's giving me a little flash there to let me know that I made a very good manoeuvre. So we have a 20-gallon tank, and I worked out even at 9 miles per gallon, we'd get about 180 miles on a whole tank, which is awful, don't get me wrong, but for what I'm doing most, which is driving this car around London, to the shops and back might be, this is this F-Type. Oh, that sounds very nice. But to the shops and back, maybe 4 miles or so. If we can get 180 miles on a tank, then that's quite a few trips to the shop, right? So, yes, it's horrific, don't get me wrong, but not that bad. I'm not racking up serious miles, and in fact, you can get over 20 mpg, not that I've proven that, on a long run. But everything you touch in here is just high quality. Got the wooden dash, which is 2-tone. Everything up here is leather. All of this is suede or Alcantara. The wheel itself is lovely, even though it probably could do with a little bit of attention. Even here, down here by my door handle, leather door pockets with carpet inside. It really is just exquisite, and it's just a silly car, isn't it? I really do not need to be driving around in this. It screams excess, and I do kind of like that about that. The iDrive system, well, it's, you know, it is the one thing that I won't try and say to you is great, because it isn't. But you know, it's not as bad as everyone makes out. I've just sold my M240i, as you guys know, which had the latest Pro navigation system. Yeah, it was the latest iDrive. And coming out of that, yes, it took me about a day or so with this car to get my head around the way it works. But actually, the amount of functionalities on it aren't nearly as daunting as I thought they might be. And once you do get around the basics of how to control it, it's actually fairly intuitive. There's just not really anything of much use on there, apart from maybe the TV. And so I just press the button down on the menu. If you go onto the menu here and press the center of the iDrive button down, the screen just goes black, and I actually just have it that way most of the time. There's obviously all of these horror stories about how you can't change the heating settings or anything without going into the iDrive. Well, with this car, that's not the case, because you've still got the analog dials here, and again, all just very nice and quite high quality feeling to use. We've got drawers everywhere in this car, again, all wood, all working, all feel really, really expensive, and of course, a little quirky phone that comes out there, which you can use to dial while you're driving. So yes, this is an exquisite car, and something that's very, very nice to drive. I mean, I can't begin to tell you how comfortable it is just sitting here, to the point where actually I'm about to pull over now and get out and swap seats, and I don't really want to, because this is actually more comfortable than my house. But yes, it is all well and good from the driver's seat, but where you really want to be is in the command or the business centre, which is the back of this car, being the long wheelbase. So yes, we'll jump into the back, because like I said, it's well, it's better equipped than an Airbus A380, and just the leather and stuff in here, I think there's probably enough leather in this car to give a vegan a panic attack. So let's jump in the back and have a little bit of fun with the toys. Okay, so, oh, soft closed doors, very nice. Here we are in the command centre of my BMW 760 Li. Still seems very, very bizarre saying that, and I think that's probably because it is quite bizarre, but I absolutely love it. This thing is just hilarious. I don't really know how else to describe it, but let me just take you through the toys in here, because it's enough to get an 8-year-old. I mean, just, I can imagine if I was a child and my dad had this car, I wouldn't have known what to do with myself. I probably would have lived in here. It really is quite something, but I've already noticed that I'm not quite happy with how close I'm sitting to the front passenger seat. So what I do here, if I press this button, I can then push that passenger seat out of my way, so it gives me a little bit more legroom. And when I say a little bit more, it's stupid. I can literally basically extend my legs entirely. In fact, if I wanted to, I could just put my feet up there. And what's great is that this car isn't worth a ton of money, so you can just sort of really enjoy it. And by that I mean I can put my dirty shoes up on this very nice leather centre console. So I can control the front, oh, that's my seat. I can control the front passenger seat, which is a really quirky and quite useful feature, and I can imagine I can have a lot of fun winding some people up with that. I then, of course, have my window controls, a very nice ashtray for the smokers amongst us here. And probably my favourite thing actually in the back, or is it my favourite thing? I don't know, we'll work that out, is the window blinds, of which I have one here and then also a separate one for the rear part of the window, and then behind me obviously the main rear windscreen. I can also flick this button across here and pop up the other side's window blinds, because why on earth would I want to reach over and do that? But for the sake of good lighting, let's open these back up again. And I don't think that's going to get boring, is it? And that one, there we go. I mean, that is just crazy, and all still working. Above me here then, got a really nice grab handle. This is, again, detailed with wood. Just feels so sturdy. And this one is spec'd with individual air conditioning units. So each side of the rear has its own air conditioning unit with individual controls, which is crazy. Of course, I can see with the seat being so far extended, we've got underfloor ventilation as well. Also, another fan here, which you can control individually. So fan here, fans up here, fans down here, and just God knows where else really. It's quite something. Again, looking eyes front, more ventilation, and this very old first class seat style TV, which I think the car's running, so if I want to, I can quite literally go ahead and pop on whatever it is I want to watch. So let's go TV here. So I can then watch the news on the way to my very important business meeting, and you might be able to notice that I can barely hear that, but here on the front of this console, I can adjust that volume.
Is that the answer to stop charging?
Which is crazy. I can also then flick the channel by pressing one of these buttons, and it will do that as well. There is, by the way, a volume control for each side. So the passenger can adjust the volume using this side, and I can adjust the volume using this side. They've even got separate controls for that. It's just, well, it's just mental. Anyway, I'm gonna close that. So that tucks away like that. Then we've got the center console and all the seat controls, very much similar to the front of the car. I've got ventilated and heated seats, which I'm going to put on actually, and also their memory as well. So you can set memory functions in this car. So let's do memory 1. That's pretty much set up for recline. And in terms of that, they don't recline as far as you might expect. But having said that, I mean, you could get really, really comfortable in here. I can't imagine much else I've been in that would be better suited for a long distance drive. Yeah, I mean it's just amazing. And I can imagine then if I close the blinds here, it's just so relaxing. It's such a lovely place to be, and my ashtray won't close. There we go. So it's stunning, and of course I have an iDrive wheel here, so I can control everything on the screen. In fact, let's just pull that back up. So even from my recline position here, yes, we've got the TV, but I can also set the navigation for the driver. So I've just received a call from my friend Jeeves, who needs me in central London for a meeting at 2. Well, I can set a destination here for exactly where we need to go, or in fact get the driver to do it for me, and therefore watch our progress as we go from the back. Even though I can see the iDrive screen at the front, but that's not the point, is it? This is all about luxury and excess. So I will say actually, this as well is a storage compartment, which again, carpeted inside, looks like it's barely been touched. I mean, this piece of plastic, for example, just looks brand spanking new. And this can go up there, and you have a third seat. There is a third seat belt. There is a third seat belt. I think there's a third seat belt. There's a third seat belt. So you can actually have a third person in here, although whoever ends up sitting in the middle is definitely, well, probably the middle child or the least favourite in said family. But also, another fun thing here, and I need to kit this out, is a fridge, which you can control with this button here, on or off, and also in the iDrive system you can control the fridge, which of course is great for storing any of your most delicate and treasured items for which you need to be refrigerated. So yeah, fridge, fantastic. It's got everything, this guy. It's the 760 Li, so it has everything as per standard. Another nice little thing that's hidden away is the cup holders, which there's 2 in the back here, and they come out like that. Very, very good. Actually holds your cup in for once, which is a nice change. And you can press this button here, which is a bit like on an aircraft if you've ever flown in, I don't know, business class. That is a little bit annoying. Anyway, if you've ever been in sort of one of those bigger seats on a plane, there's normally a button which you have to press, which sort of returns you to the takeoff position, they call it, or landing, where you sort of got to be sat in a certain way for takeoff or landing, for safety reasons presumably. But there's a button that I've just pressed there, which sort of puts you in a sort of comfortable, I guess, lounge upright position. Then of course I can just hit my memory number 1, and decide after that horrific noise that I'm just gonna have a little nap. I love the seats. Don't really know what else to say, guys, apart from the fact that this is my 760 Li. I have a few things planned with it which I won't reveal, but at the moment, as it stands, everything is in perfect working order. I've had a couple of warning lights here and there, but nothing major. It is losing a bit of coolant, but that's something I'm completely used to with my Z4, my other BMW at the moment. But just like, I mean, like I say, this isn't sagging at all, this headline. The seats feel like they've never been sat in. All the electronics are working. These heated seats are absolutely roasting me to the sun, so I'm going to switch them off. It's just wonderful. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm really intrigued to hear what you guys think, actually. This is a car that I've always sort of wanted, and I've just gone bloody well done it, haven't I? So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon in the next video.